through the soil, sass, sass. Eat invisible, the plants, sass, sass. You wiggle and wiggle through the soil, sass, sass. You're doing your wiggle, wiggle dance, sass, sass.
Language is a gateway to students' minds. It is a tool for developing complex thinking, for acquiring subject area knowledge, and for expressing understanding of that knowledge. Language can be a barrier when a student does not speak the dominant language of the classroom, unless classroom instruction opens the doorway. The LASERS program is an educational system that is designed to help English language learners open the doorway to language, science, and thinking.
California is becoming increasingly culturally and linguistically diverse. Currently, in our schools, 60% of students come from cultural and linguistic minority families. Of these, 40% enter school speaking a language other than English. The education of English language learners, students who need to learn English as they go along the pipeline in school, is a major problem, a major issue in the California school context. Typically, these students do not receive access to a high-quality science curriculum. The most usual approach is to teach students English before giving them access to subject matter content instruction. So the purpose of the LASERS project was to try and bring quality science instruction into schools that were serving large numbers of English language learners.
In this video, you will see teachers using various strategies to integrate English language development and science for English learners at various levels of second language acquisition. The goal is to increase both the academic English capabilities of the students as well as their science understanding.
The districts that make up LASERS, which is a consortium of districts and the University of California, Santa Cruz, and LifeLab, are all facing this really important challenge of having their students both become fluent in English as well as develop academic knowledge. And through LASERS, we had the opportunity to bring together the garden as a context for learning, science as a hands-on contextual way of developing academic knowledge, and language development, which becomes much more meaningful for students when it's developed within areas they're curious about and around subjects that they want to learn about.
The LASERS Summer School Academy integrates 4 weeks of English language development with high-quality science instruction for English language learners, staff development for teachers, including in-service prior to the academy, and a system of ongoing coaching and teacher collaboration, as well as teacher participation in research on student learning. In content-based ELD, language development is the primary goal. In SEDAI, mastery of grade-level content concepts is the goal, while bridging language proficiencies. The LASERS program combines these approaches to ensure academic language development and a deep understanding of science. The same content-based ELD instruction strategies are used in all LASERS classroom settings. They include connect to prior knowledge and experience, preview of new vocabulary, contextualize language through hands-on activities, student-student interaction, student-teacher interaction, check for understanding, end-of-lesson summary, speech-to-print connections.
Contextualizing is the term that I would use, meaning what are visuals that I would use with the student? How am I going to use language in my own speech that will help create greater meaning, be it emphasizing certain aspects of the literature that I'm reading and giving kids synonyms, giving examples through visuals. In content-based ELD, it's also very important that students have a lot of opportunity to use language with each other. And so the instruction will be characterized by a lot of student-student interaction, a lot of verbal interaction with the teacher, maximizing it to ensure that all kids in the classroom have the opportunity to use English. Thirdly, in order to increase kids' comprehension, I'm going to be sure that whatever it is that I'm teaching that I either connect to prior knowledge that I've taught the student or to personal experience that the student's bringing to the concept that I'm teaching. The notion being that the brain is a highly intelligent pattern-seeking device, and the more that I can create patterns for students and connections across what I'm teaching and what their prior knowledge is, then the quicker the brain picks up that concept and constructs it for itself. This is particularly important for English language learners when the challenge is doing this in a second language.
The Summer School Academy classrooms are delineated by grade level and by level of English language proficiency. The lasers strategies implemented in this newcomer classroom have been found to be effective in the early stages of English language development.
Soil and compost. Same amount. Careful. Be careful. You need 2 of those, okay?
Teacher.
Going fast or is it going very slow?
Mire. What? Ahorita mire que nada más se puso bien mucho negro.
Se puso mucho negro.
Aquí se puso negro.
It's raining, right? That's raining. You see this is? You see what's happening? Remember that word over there? Drainage? Mm-hmm. And look at the water. What color is it? Is it clear?
Yeah.
Is it clear?
No.
Or is it like this water or is it darker?
It's darker.
Mm-hmm. So think about it. If you were a plant, what would you like?
Dark water.
Look at the color. The texture.
Green.
Texture. Look at the water. Look at the color. What color is it?
It's more darker.
It's
A
darker.
little bit darker.
Is it darker than yours?
No.
And what did we say about the dark? The darker the water is, the what?
The
The better or the worse for the plants?
the better.
After you've written your prediction, put your pencils down. Yes, I can.
Escríbetelo en inglés.
Tela, cloth. C-L.
Porque de eso.
But which one has the most nutrients? Florida or Arizona?
Arizona. Nebraska.
This second grade classroom is made up of students at both beginning and early intermediate English language levels. The lasers strategies allow lesson content to be beneficial to all of the students.
Same thing? Yes, you learned that. Good for you. We added some carrots. Were they good carrots? They were yummy carrots. We added some apples. We added some straw. Can you see the straw?
I think they're gonna eat it.
If we put a leaf in the garden, you think the worms will eat it?
Yeah.
That is a good experiment, Alexandra. It smells yucky. You agree with these?
We need one leaf. And then
It smells the same? Anna, popsicle sticks.
go on. Are you happy?
Is it good? It looks bad, huh? Would you eat that?
No.
No, you're not gonna eat that? Wait, not yet.
Teacher, a worm.
Did you find a worm?
Yeah, we found a worm.
It's brown. It's brown and black.
Green.
And it's a little green now. Are the leaves crispy and green? It's yes, crispy, crunchy. What happened to the leaf?
It's getting green.
It's getting green?
No. Ya se está quitando.
Oh, it's changing colors. Is it decomposing?
Yeah.
It's decomposing. Can you say that? It's decomposing. Yes, good job. You are learning. Good job. Are there vegetables in the compost? Can you find them? And look, there's a roly-poly. Don't touch it. Wait, don't touch it. Leave it alone. I want you to use your eyes, just your eyes. Look at the centipede.
I'm a broccoli.
The broccoli smelled bad? Did this broccoli smell bad? You found the broccoli in the compost? Was it green like before? No, what happened to it? It changed. What changed it, Juan?
Yellow.
It changed yellowish? Yes. Was it under the soil? Was it under the soil? Yes, it was. Thank you, Fernando. Was it under the soil? Yes. What did your partner say?
It smells yucky.
It smells yucky too. And it looks
decayed.
It looked decayed. Good for you, Maite.
Lasers incorporates rich hands-on learning experiences that enable students to acquire subject area concepts directly from the real-world objects or experiments that illustrate the characteristics or principles of these concepts. The brain can construct the concept directly from evidence without the language dependence created by second-hand learning, such as teacher explanations, textbooks, or dittos. The second language learner can develop subject area understanding and express that understanding in the English language proficiency level that he or she is able. Hands-on learning is essential to the success of the Lasers Summer Academy and includes conducting experiments that involve observing evidence, graphing or illustrating results, creating models, etc. Classrooms that you'll be viewing in the intermediate grades include students who have obtained a level of English proficiency which enables them to work in grade-level curriculum and engage in complex thinking using English, but still require teacher support in complex narrative and using language to express abstract ideas.
Okay, maybe like the wind comes and there's a mountain and the wind blows and makes like rain.
Oh yeah, and
Rain, and then it causes what you call it, soil erosion, and that's why maybe they got soil on top of, and it turns into layers and layers.
yeah, and then the rain comes and to layers.
And then the tree falls and turns to soil.
Yeah.
And
What would have happened if there was no tree? If there was other things around that area? Like it could have been grass, or it could have been what? Like what? Wood. It could have been wood too. Rocks, or what else? Soil. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a tree. So maybe mountains too. That's very good.
These are the words that you're going to be seeing. Some of them you already saw and you guys already mentioned them, and we talked about them when we were talking about fossils. We have here, can everybody say this word? Everybody together? Okay. Okay.
Earth, fossils,
Okay.
laboratory.
Okay, very good.
How does it feel?
Bumpy.
It feels bumpy. How do you think people actually know that it's a fossil?
Because they found the shell.
Because they found a shell. So if I find a shell, that means it's a fossil?
No.
By touching it and by looking at it, how do you know it's a fossil?
Because it got rock,
It has rock. Very good. Okay.
shell,
It has a shell and it has the rock. Do you know what's an imprint?
like something like you press like a mud and
And it leaves,
the mark.
Okay, okay, very good. Okay, very good. So it leaves the mark. It leaves the imprint. Very good. You want to go next, Kristen?
And I think it's a fossil
Why do you think it's a fossil?
because it looks like a shell and it has like little stripes here.
It has little stripes. Okay.
Or some kind of plant or something.
And then what's over here?
Sand. Here's sand.
Okay. How do you know it's a fossil?
Because it turned into rock.
How do you know it turned into a rock?
The soil, because of pressure.
Because of pressure?
Fossil. It has different types of how the shells landed.
Okay.
Because this one's up, this one's down, this
Okay.
is like sideways.
Okay.
This one doesn't have the little sticks like this one's.
Okay, so you could actually see the different shapes of the shells, right?
Yeah.
And how you know it's a fossil?
It has rock around it.
Okay.
It's very hard. It's cracking.
And it's cracking and it's very hard. What we want to be facing down is the part that it's all soft. Okay? The part that we want facing up
is the part where you feel the little veins. That's what we want on top. So I'm going to go ahead and place it inside the container. Very careful. Trying not to get soil on top of it. You just press. Okay. That's where you're going to put it at. So just keep pressing. 1 second. Okay. If you have soap on both sides, you need to press down on the leaf. Go ahead and put the leaf on there. And I'm going to be calling you by groups to come up and get the plaster on top of that leaf. Remember that it's the veins that face up. Alejandro, which are the veins? Okay, and they need to be facing up? Okay, you got it. Just take a few minutes, 5 minutes or so, and write. What do you think is going to happen to that leaf that you have there? To that soil? To that plaster? What does it represent? Before we go, I want to find out what you learned and what is a fossil and how it compares to the activity that we did.
That goes all the way to the leaf, and that mineral that right there.
Okay, very good. Anything else? Over here.
This is a leaf,
Uh-huh.
and those are sea animals.
Sea animals are part of animals. Okay, that's good.
Oftentimes in content-based ELD, you'll see teachers using largely a language arts approach. And you don't see the range of academic uses of a language that you see when you use a content area as rich as science. Secondly, science gets kids thinking in really critical ways. You can engage kids in science and using English to think for reasons of comparing and contrasting, developing hypotheses, testing out those hypotheses, gathering evidence, summarizing what their hypothesis is, and then rethinking it and based upon the evidence that they're seeing.
At every language level, the key component is the engaging of students in a hands-on investigation that interests them, which promotes their use of language and furthers their conceptual learning. In this middle school Lasers classroom, the teacher incorporates the key strategies to both develop their understanding of the characteristics of life and their English language development.
Today is the 18th. So journal entry on the 18th.
The green has a stronger smell.
I know, it feels all like...
Smell it?
Okay. Smell it if you'd like to. That's a good idea.
It smells like celery.
But as
No,
far
this
as
one, green leaf.
you're talking about strength, that's got
Water.
a lot to do with it.
Water.
Okay, strength.
You guys
Water.
get a green. What do you think? What's the difference between those leaves?
It's getting dry because it's not having the right type of water.
You think it's dry? Okay.
It feels like
Okay.
like when they're starting to get dry, and this one doesn't. It feels like cold.
Okay.
See, look at that. You can see a lot.
Remember, you're supposed to practice with your eyes open. Both the way open. It's still there. Oh, now you can see it. Whoa.
Okay.
Mr. Bella, what did you see?
You can describe it in any way you want.
Baby, that's kind of like those, you know, like those little things that you look at and you twist it.
Oh, I see those toys that you look at on the line.
Did you get all the bubbles?
The shape and everything.
To me, it looked like crystals.
Yeah, they
That's
have
what
like
it looked
little,
like.
like little things.
What do you think they are, though? All those little
Cells.
compound cells. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I've got really good eyes for it, so I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's some in the corners, but actually that group in the middle. Go ahead.
Right next to the pointer on the right side. That little circle thing. I've seen 2 of those already.
The blue ones, they're open, and the green ones, they were like...
How could you tell they were open?
Because you can see that a circle.
The circle. What color was that?
It was black.
Like black. What color was the water? Blue, which would make sense, wouldn't it? Because we could see it maybe in there, within it, and it would be dark, wouldn't it? Just like the water is, which we dyed. Okay, give me a good note on the green leaf. What do you think?
That it absorbed water, and the blue one absorbed food coloring.
What was that black color we were seeing in the middle of the stomates that
dye.
were open? The dye. What color? What did we dye?
Blue.
But what did we dye?
water.
We dyed
Water.
the water. So if it was open, should we be able to look inside and see the water?
Yeah.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Classroom investigations are then applied in the garden using the same strategies.
Which side would grow better, the side with the potting soil or the one with normal soil?
Absolutely. Where in our experiment, we're looking at those variables. So we're looking at two types of soil. We're looking at potting soil, we're looking at normal soil, and then we're particularly looking at growth of different plants, right? Of different plants in both of those soils. If those were your results, if they smelled the same or if they had a distinct smell, write that down, okay? You're not looking for differences, you're just smelling, okay? And then writing down what you observed. That's important. What can you guys tell me about the lima beans?
They grew bigger than the one with the potting soil.
Absolutely. Okay, how about you, if you remember, we grew lima beans on this side too. What's going on there?
This one grew and over there, like 7 inches. My cosmos grew 1 inch more than it was. It was 6 inches, and it grew, and now it's 7 inches. And mine grew, and my cosmos grew 3.5.
Mr. Bela, you already have a team on the other side for the corn?
And the corn was 5.
What were the lima beans able to do when they were soaked?
They were just they were able just to
Lasers focuses on the challenge of developing academic English. Upon the completion of elementary school, students are often fluent in social English, but are at the disadvantage of not having the skills to understand academic content in English.
As a second language learner, I definitely know the obstacles and the barriers that come with not being fluent in English. In my experience, the biggest barrier was not comprehending academic language. I was able to carry on a simple conversation, but when it came to learning about concepts, I had really no idea.
The Lasers program represents the synthesis of multiple teacher professional development strategies designed to effectively implement Life Lab curriculum and the school garden as contextual science elements into daily English language development instruction.
The goals for the Lasers professional development program are based essentially around having teachers teach science to make it accessible for all students. That comes back over and over as the heart of what we're trying to do. We want teachers to have not only a deep understanding of the science that they're teaching, so that they clearly understand and really have the knowledge to teach that science well, but on top of that, we want teachers to make it accessible for all students despite their language. And so to provide the teachers with multiple strategies for how to make that science accessible so that all students can participate and learn. The Summer School Academy is comprised of basically 3 stages. The first is a preparation stage that takes place prior to summer school. We spend 30 to 40 hours working with teachers to prepare for instruction in the summer school. They spend time working with scientists, learning science. They spend time analyzing and preparing for their curriculum instruction with their team. And they also spend some time becoming acquainted with the rest of the people that they'll be working with, their coach, the mini-course students, the rest of the staff. The next stage of summer school is the actual instruction time. And for the next 4 or 5 weeks, the teachers are engaged in instruction. So they're teaching students in a regular summer school program. And then the third part to that is the ongoing professional development, the reflection time that takes place in the afternoons. And so that's basically the 3 main parts. The fourth, which is a real critical part, is the ongoing support that transfers onto the school year. So there is an essential part in that once people go back to their school year, the idea is not to just end in summer school, but to continue the work and through support
staff developer support, other teachers from their school site, that continues.
In lasers, children are taught English while they are actively engaged in scientific discoveries. Through lasers' professional development, teachers can learn to embed academic English in science to allow the children to keep in pace with science standards while they are developing academic English skills. This is achieved through the combination of enhancement of content knowledge and teaching practices. Teacher professional development is embedded in classroom practice and includes grade-level lesson planning, science inquiry, peer coaching sessions, core team reflection, formative assessment. Lasers teacher professional development is an ongoing process designed to assure that teachers implement most effectively the science and language development. A teaching team comprised of a teacher, a peer coach, a facilitator, and a mini-course student work independently with other teams at their grade level, with the lasers scientists, and with the entire faculty to refine and improve the effectiveness of their lessons and assure that the team is on target with the curriculum. The teaching team participates in a number of meetings throughout the school week. The week begins with a planning meeting. Teams meet to select and coordinate the curriculum and to plan strategies for upcoming activities.
Use 3, definitely transfer onto other areas, you know.
But they only have to talk about their own soil, not the soil of everybody in the group.
But on the chart,
This chart, the guess tell and test and tell, you have to guess on everybody's soil.
Science inquiry is a time where the teachers can work alone and with the lasers scientist to develop knowledge and understanding of the science taking place in the classrooms. Science presentations give the teachers a chance to share their personal experiments and discoveries with the entire faculty.
By doing some experiments with squash plants and different soils.
We decided to amend Graciela's soil with manure and compost, and we used 4 different pots.
Peer coaching sessions give teachers an opportunity to work closely with a coach and determine how effectively they implement particular strategies. The coach meets with the teacher before the lesson in a pre-conference, and they discuss the strategies the teacher will implement in the lesson and plan the key points that the coach will observe. The coach then attends, observes, and records pertinent details that occur during the lesson. The coach then analyzes these details and meets with the teacher in a post-conference, where they review the effectiveness of the lesson strategies and discuss modifications to future lessons for more effective teaching.
I'm going to go through the anecdotal record that I wrote down while I was in your classroom. And after that, I will go ahead and give you some positive feedback, tell you some strategies that I saw you use in your teaching that were effective.
Please, yes.
And
the core team meeting gives the teaching teams a chance to work together on their individual class. Here they can discuss the progress of their students, review student work, review videotapes of their classroom activities, and modify strategies to adapt to specific needs of their students.
Indicating was actually the guard cells.
And the purpose of that particular activity was to allow me to assess and understand how well they now understand photosynthesis and how helpful that method of instruction was.
Formative assessment meetings take place weekly and provide an opportunity for the teams to work with lasers staff to assure the lasers strategies are implemented most effectively.
Our understanding of where are they in that development. But remember, the formative assessment it's basically looking at some samples as indicators of how students are progressing to tell you, what do I need to do next? And if I see 3 or 4 samples and I look at them this way, and I see the same things happening. If I don't, then that's an indicator to me. I need to go back to the drawing board. I need to do something different.
The lasers team is composed of 2 teachers, a mini course student who is preparing to become a teacher, a coach who observes us and gives us feedback, and a facilitator that is really there to support us. I feel that those roles are very important because in the planning stage, teachers aren't by themselves. They're able to collaborate with that team and receive ideas from different perspectives, and that just makes the planning a lot richer. Nothing is left out because we do have all those opinions. Then within the classroom, having a mini core student is basically like having another teacher. And so when there's more attention on the students, they perform a lot better, and eventually we give them the opportunity to be more successful.
The LASERS program employs a system of content-based ELD strategies that combines the development of both English language and academic skills. This combination results in student proficiencies in both subject areas that exceeds the development of skills when these subjects are taught separately. The most obvious advantage of content-based ELD is that it eliminates the academic gap between second language students, who spend the majority of their elementary schooling learning only English, and native language speakers, who have access to all of their grade-level curriculum.
In most classrooms, English language instruction and science instruction, or indeed any subject matter instruction, is not integrated. The traditional approach is to first teach English and then teach science or social studies or history. And the consequence of that is that for many English language learners, they spend years and years and years in ELD classes until they are viewed to have reached a level of proficiency to be able to be given access to rigorous content instruction. The problem is that while they are developing English language, students who are primary English speakers are moving forward in academic classes. And so the gap between ELL students and students from the mainstream culture just widens.
Research demonstrates that a contextual, hands-on learning environment is best for developing both science learning and language skills. Studies conducted by Trish Stoddard at the University of California demonstrate a significant improvement in science learning of students from concept maps. In pre- and post-tests in oral language development, students improved their language level an average of 3 to 5 months during the 1 month of the summer school academy. These studies indicate that teachers' ability to integrate hands-on science and ELD improved as well.
What LASERS allows us to do is work in a learning community of teachers, administrators, and students and parents, really preparing our students for the future to be literate in English, have good reading and writing and speaking skills, to help prepare them for academic courses in high school and the potential of college and good careers, and also the importance of giving them the literacy to be good citizens, not just speaking and writing literacy, but the awareness of their ecology and how science impacts their life so they can make good decisions for their communities.
In the debate on education, there's one voice that is seldom heard, and that is the voice of the student. And yet, they are the ultimate consumers of the educational process. And they are the beneficiaries or the victims of the reforms that we implement in classrooms. And nowhere in the educational reform movement is that more true than in the issue of bilingual education. Because language is at the heart of a child's identity and at the heart of the child's relationship with her or his family and the community.
The Summer Academy that you're seeing on this tape represents a fine example of a way to double time or accelerate language development as well as access the core curriculum and deep understandings of science. And so I would invite you to look at the LASERS program and the curriculums that are used in it, like LifeLab, to ensure that your district can meet its commitment to English language learners, of ensuring that they develop high levels of English proficiency and master the core content and have those post-secondary opportunities that will make their lives better for themselves and their families.
You guys got it again. You got it. You guys
Skills in academic English and science are essential for a child to reach his or her potential in this society. The LASERS program addresses this essential necessity with an organic approach to English language development that effectively adapts teachers and teaching strategies to the needs of the students in an engaging and challenging context.
One